Good evening. It is time to wake up. I am Micah Earth Spirit, and this is the Dew of Light. Hi, it's been a while. I have been stuck a little, and it's taken a while to make this video. It's been a little while since I've made my last YouTube, and I think it's because I realized there was something that I wanted to talk about, but it's been like lodged, like right here, kind of stuck in my heart, wanting to get out, but I've been really a little afraid of the vulnerability and the topic. So I'm coming today with an open heart and just coming as my raw full self to share something that I've been going through, hopefully in service of anyone who's going through the same thing, and just a greater awareness of what consent is. So that's what I want to talk about today, is consent. I want to talk about consent because it is so big. It's such a big thing in my life and around me, and it's weighted. It's like, oh, consent. Oh, here we go again. And it's so up right now, right? Like everybody's talking about it. So some way I've not wanted to talk about it because it has so much energy and so much heaviness around it. And it's also a really light and beautiful thing when we have consent. I want to talk about it because about a year ago, someone violated my consent, and it wasn't the first time. It's been something that has happened to me a lot of times in my life. When I was quite young, I had some experiences that were a little bit difficult and have really shaped my life. And over the years, men have taken things from me. They've taken kisses, they've taken really sacred moments, and they've forced me into things that I haven't wanted to do. It feels super vulnerable to say that. I think because I felt really guilty about that over the years. Like it was my fault, that I could have set stronger boundaries, that I should have said no, that I should have said no harder because I did say no. And this is what happened last year, which really, this is what happened last year, and it brought a lot of awareness because I was awake, I was in it, I was conscious, and someone went farther than I wanted to go. And I said no, and they kept going. And I said no, and they kept going. And finally, I just froze, and my voice stopped working, and I didn't feel heard, and I just stopped. And I gave away something that I didn't want to give, and someone took something that was more than I was offering. And what it taught me was this: one no is a no. The first no is the no. If you are trying to convince me after I've said no to say yes, we're in bad territory. And I think this is really subtle because I'm learning so much more deeply about the history of women, how we've been silenced in our no. We've been taught to be submissive. And this weekend I had this profound realization around this, that my no, I was not taught to say no. I was taught that as a woman, we say yes. We kind of give in to the man. The man's in charge, and we let him lead. And that if I want a man to love me, then I need to do what he wants. And this wasn't taught like really, it's overt. It's subtle messages. It's really subtle messages. And it's been taught so long that I think that it's actually become ingrained in us as women to be silent, to have our no's silenced, to just say yes. And I think that what we see happening right now is this voice waking up, and the women are like, no more. We are here to say no. We're here to stand up for ourselves. And it feels strong because it takes a lot to get over that fucking block. It takes so much. And I know because I've been in it and I've done work around it, and I still get stuck in it. And I want to get to the place where I don't freeze. In the last few months, I've been really feeling this, like really thinking about it for about a year now. But there has been a situation in our community that has made me freeze again, because I don't know how to react when I see someone pushing boundaries. And so my heart has been really tender, and it's caused a lot of silence in me because I need to get this out, and it's really, really hard. But I think that in my own healing process, I have to say these words because I need the world to know what I've gone through, and I need, or maybe not the world, it's like I need to just say it to get it outside of myself. And I need to say it because I don't think people understand sometimes. I don't think men or women understand sometimes what is really happening when we get into that moment. It's like, oh, there's this wave of energy and we're both here, and yes, it feels really good, and maybe we're even making out and I'm still a yes, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is nice. And then suddenly I feel it like, oh, there's my line, and I say, hey, I need to stop. But then someone says, oh, let's go a little farther. Come on, hey, doesn't this feel good? And I'm guilty of it too. I've let my own wave overcome someone else's like line. And so it's such a subtle thing, this wave of desire that happens, and then we're in the wave and we get caught up. And by the time that I realize that I'm a no, it's too late. Or the time that I say it and then I step over that because I am enjoying it. I do like the connection. Something does feel good, but I don't want it to go as far as it's going. I want it to go somewhere safe for me. I want to be involved in my yes. I want to be a fuck yes. And this is the real thing, is a yes is only a yes if it's a fuck yes. Like, a fuck yes is like, there is no question in me. I want this. I want you to kiss me. I want you to be my lover. I want to be in this. That is a fuck yes. It comes from deep in my soul. And I want that so deeply. I love the fuck yes. I think sex is beautiful. I think consent is beautiful because it feels so good when I can give someone that fuck yes. And it feels so good when I get it back. There's no question that I know that someone wants me and I want them too. And the next day, I'm not in some like hangover or regret of the situation that happened because I was fully aware and fully in it. And I know that we were both there together. That's the fuck yes. That's the kind of loving encounters that I want to have. And maybe they can just be fun. It can be a night. It doesn't have to be some deep thing, as long as we're both a fuck yes to it. And where I see my own struggle, and I see struggle is in the place where we want something and we have an agenda. It's like I have an expectation and suddenly I have desire. I mean, my desire is strong and I want it from you. And this feels really good. So like now I'm kind of pushing it and like, yeah, come on, let's do this. Don't you want to do this? Let's do this. And it requires me pulling back and being okay to receive that no and not being offended like when I get it. It's okay. Let's go slow. Let's take this slow. There's no rush. There's more sex to be had down the line. Somebody else is going to be a fuck yes eventually. So I don't need to push you into a yes. I want your real authentic yes, or I want your real authentic no. And what I'm asking for through this message is that I myself can have more ability to say no and be heard. That I can slow down and not override somebody else's no. Being caught up in my own passionate wave, so that we can both go slow enough to be a real yes. It is so hard in me to overcome what has happened to me. I have been working on it for so long, and the layers are so deep in me. The parts of me that silenced my voice, and the parts of me that were broken and were wounded because people did not hear my no. People took without asking. I personally think consent is sexy. I want to be asked. If you want to kiss me, please fucking ask me. If you want to hold my hand, let's do that. Ask me. Like, let me give you my yes. It's sexy. There's something really hot for me when someone asks for what they want. And I know it's tricky. I struggle with it because it's vulnerable, right? And asking, then I'm taking the chance to receive your no. And fuck, that is really, really hard. And I'm also really giving you the chance to express your yes. So I am advocating for the ask. I'm advocating for us to go slow enough to not get caught in the wave so that it rolls us over and then we end up drowning in the undertow. But that we can go slow enough to catch it. And so maybe my wave can catch you and we can surf for a little while together if that's what we want. It is so sensitive. And I just want to say that I think many of us have been broken here, men and women, and it is not a one-sided street. It goes both directions. And I just want to own that in myself and for all of us, that there is a deep relearning here that needs to happen. And it is about hearing each other, hearing ourselves. That's what it's really even more deeply about, is hearing myself so that I can go slow enough to go, I don't want this, or I do want this, but I need to go slow enough to feel it. I need you to honor me when I ask for us to slow down or when I ask you to stop. I need to feel safe enough to say that I need to stop. And man, do I want to hold that space for you, whoever you are. I want to give you the space to give me your no, to hear your no. And I want this for the world because it is really, really subtle. And when we go too fast, I think we miss it. And consent is so much bigger than sex. It can be like going out to eat. I mean, really, it is, am I energetically giving more than you that can handle right now? Are you energetically giving me more than I can handle right now? Maybe it's, do I even have the consent to tell you a story? Do I have the consent to have your attention right now? Sometimes people take my attention and I do not give them consent. And there is so much subtlety here. And violation is real. It has a real effect. It has damage for both of us. It's painful. It requires a deep recovery. And I just dream of a world where we have these beautiful sons and daughters who can grow up respecting and trusting each other's bodies and each other's truths and each other's spaces, What a world it is that we live in, that we're beginning to talk about this, but what a world we can create where we teach our children that they are worthy of their no. That our young women, that our little girls, that our beautiful daughters, that those of us growing up into women, that our elder women can reclaim our voices and say no more. No, I don't want this. No, I won't let this happen to me anymore. I make this video to stand in my own truth, to feel my no, to say something louder. To speak to this really deep, vulnerable wound in me that I am desperately trying to heal so that I can be really healthy in my life, so that I can state my boundaries, so that I can follow truth and be in my flow and know when my yes is a yes. I trust so much, and sometimes I trust too much. So I am learning how to have discernment. And I think a really, really important part of that is speaking out about the injustices that I've felt in myself and the places where I've been frozen. And I also want to finish this by just saying that it's not just fight or flight. I think we think everything is fight or flight. I'm either going to fight you off or I'm going to run away. But we forget about the freeze. We forget about the freeze where I go, I don't know what to do. I can't operate. I'm frozen. So I can't fight or flight. I'm just fucking here stuck in this. And then one I recently learned, which I've never heard before and I want to acknowledge, is called the fawn. And that's where I start to make compromises. Well, I won't have sex, but I'll give you a blowjob. Well, I don't want to, but I don't want to lose you, so I'll do it this one time. And the fawn is just as dangerous. Like, consent is not compromise. A no is a no. Maybe your maybe is a no. A maybe is not a fuck yes. A maybe means not right now. Let's find our fuck yes. Let's ask for what we want. Let's recognize the subtlety that's here, that needs to be respected and honored and learned. And let's do the work together without shame and blame. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anyone that I've pushed over the line, because I know I've done it. And I'm so sorry to the people who I didn't say no to strong enough. I'm sorry to myself for not holding my own boundaries tighter. And I'm sorry that people ahead of me didn't have the correct information to give me so that I was able to stand up for myself. I'm sorry for the lineage of places where this has gotten lost. And I trust this medicine. I trust this learning that we're doing right now. I make this video to call us all to wake up here, to honor, to trust consent, to look more deeply into it, to push into the vulnerability of our truths and to the ask. And I just really also do this to share my own story so that you can see me more deeply. I am just a human. I'm a human who's been hurt. I'm a human who has struggle, and I'm just like you, even though I'm totally different from you. I love you. I want the best for you, I want the best for me, and I want the best for the world so that we may all wake up together and be the light. I want to offer just a quick little exercise if you want to practice consent. It is such a sweet little easy game. So basically you just need one other person and you just get together, and the first round you just want to have one partner say yes while the other partner is saying no. So one partner is just going to say yes, 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 while the other partner says no, 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 no. And you just go back and forth. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Then switch roles. So, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. You can try it both saying yes. You can try it both saying no. And then eventually you can try it where you say what feels right. Yes, yes. Yes? No. No. Yes. So this is just a really great game to start practicing that yes and no, even if it's with somebody that you've been with for a while, because the thing about consent is it's not just things that happen at the beginning of a relationship. It's really deep. It goes on and on. Consent is a thing that needs to be asked for again and again and again. And I've been in this practice, even my very good friend, my roommate, my deep friend who I have so much trust with, I still make sure to ask her sometimes if I can put my hand on her back, if she wants a hug, if it's okay to engage in touch with her. I don't know where she is at every moment. She doesn't know where I am. I want to be asked sometimes, unless I've given you, and there is this blanket consent, which means anytime, any moment, go for it. But even then, sometimes I'm still a no. Hey, ask me. And if we're going to have sex, please ask me. If you're in a partnership, if you're a husband and a wife, still ask. Hear the no. Violation can happen anywhere. It's real. This is a real thing. And I think the more that we practice it, the more we wake up to it, the healthier we're all going to be, and the better this world is going to be. And as I watch this beautiful sunset out here in this beautiful hill country, I send this wish out that we can all wake up, that we can shine our lights, that we can be happy and full in our truths, that we can hear each other and understand the yes and the no. This is consent. If you like this video, stay tuned. I know this is a little bit heavier. I know this one was a little bit long. It's not always going to be like this, and I really appreciate kind of pulling the stopper out so that I can share my voice and my authenticity here for you, for me, for the world more and more. I am the Dew of Light. Be well.